All right. Well, welcome to this live stream. Happy Labor Day for everyone who's in the US and Canada. This is the very first time I'm streaming, by the way. So this is very new to me. I I was just doing the setup of my stream and trying to figure out, where everything goes and stuff like that. So there's going to be like things that are not going to be perfect, but I'm here to basically learn. Usually, I think I decided to think about making videos in this particular way because I started to feel like I've not been having enough time to make videos the way I normally do. I'm spending that time doing something that is equally important, like building AI systems. In the company where I work as an AI engineer for customers. So think about it like a forward deployed engineer. So my job is really to work with clients to build and deliver solutions. So this is something that takes a lot of time, especially for a very fast growing startup, which is where I work at. Like there's so many customers to work for and to do stuff like that. So making videos, like sitting down, making the video, doing like the edits and all the things that typically have to happen when you're making a video, usually is very very difficult for me. So at the end of the day, I decided that why not come in and learn publicly? Because I think one of the best aspects of the best things that I love doing is to learn and to learn as much as possible. We live in a world right now where there's so much going on in terms of so many new releases of libraries and frameworks and model changes and so many things that are happening, and people get overwhelmed sometimes. So you just need to make out time for yourself to just sit down, kick back, try to learn new things, and then you continue the grind of the things that you're doing on a day to day. So because as an AI engineer, you're just focused purely on the work that you're doing, or as an engineer, generally speaking, you're focused on the work that you're doing. So, but making out some time to sort of learn new stuff is always helpful. And that's what I want to use this time to do. So just vibe on the different things that are going on, in the space, things that are interesting that I'm trying to learn, and learning with anyone who joins in and is interested in learning, interested in bringing their own experiences, sharing what they're learning as well. It's great to have a community where you can, learn together, right? Build stuff, see what's working, what's not working, and and just figure out things and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this channel. So I'm learning about deep agents. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I think one of the things that I've really loved about Langchain, specifically, I have to give them a shout out because Langchain is really. I'm just gonna close my window because there's some noise coming in. Just want to make sure that it's closed. All right. So one of the things about Langchain is that from day one, they've been sort of helping us understand how to apply AI. I think that's the thing I've loved the most about them. They've made it so easy to understand how to use this thing in real world, case use cases and things like that. And that's what I love about them. So when I really stay tuned with what Langchain is doing from what the mental models they're putting out there, the things that they're saying are happening, these types of things. So those are the things I really focus on. In all honesty, I think I've seen this sort of debate out there where people are saying things like, well, with Langchain, you shouldn't build everything on Langchain. You shouldn't build production level stuff on Langchain. I disagree a little bit. I think that you can use Langchain as a way to kind of build your mental model. There are things that you could do very, very quickly. They have a lot of utility. So things you can do very quickly so you don't have to kind of think about building it and maintaining it. But I think ultimately what you should be doing is to be in problem solving mode anyways, right? If you're in problem solving mode, then you're going to figure out how to fit different parts of different tools, utilities into the problem you're solving. But I love Langchain because they help me understand how to implement the framework, the design, the system design, which I think is the most important thing when it comes to building these systems that we build, is really about how to architect it essentially. All right, so enough yapping. Let's talk about deep agents. So what are deep agents? So I've read this particular article because this was the blog they put out when they released Deep Agent. They released it sometime in July. So it's been around for a while. Harrison Chase worked on this one specifically, so I think it's something to pay attention to. So he talks about the fact that um, I think the essence of what he's talking about here is really around like tools like Deep Research, Manus, Cloud Code. They are very popular tools. They're tools that are able to go do very, very complex, solve very complex tasks, right? They can go and do research in ways that are not normal for a simple agent that does maybe one or two tool calls. They have an extensive planning module. So where the agent understands exactly what tasks is going to go perform. And these tasks can be very, very, very long tasks in themselves, like the subtasks in each of the tasks that it needs to do. So it needs to run for a very long time in most cases. It needs to be able to go do those things. It needs to be able to go outsource some work to some other agents, these types of things for it to solve its problem. So a good example of that is Deep Research in OpenAI, Manus, Cloud Code, and there's so many of them, so many of them. So at the end of the day, what this particular library is trying to do, a framework is trying to do, is to explain how to build something like that. So it talks about the fact that it has a planning tool, sub-agents, and access to a file system and a detailed prompt. Now, there's something interesting about this detailed prompts because he goes on to say that these detailed prompts typically are very extensive. They're not like very small, few lines of prompting or anything like that. They're very extensive prompts. And he was talking about how Claude Code, for instance, like their code, their system prompt is very, very long, right? Very, very, very long. So it's not just about any prompt, it's about specifically being so detailed about how your agent is going to run different tools, like explaining very, very explicitly. You have to pretend that the agent doesn't really understand how to build, or understand like the way your application works behind the scenes. You have to almost assume that. So you have to empathize with your agent when you're building like the system prompt for how it should use tools and what scenarios it should do one specific thing over the other. Now, the other thing that is very, very important with these deep agents is their planning tool. So they have a tool, and I think he talked about the fact that, let me see if I can find it. He said like Claude Code uses a to-do list tool. So this is the tool that Claude Code uses. And it's saying that this is how Claude Code keeps track of the things it's doing. It keeps track of all the different tasks and, step by step goes through them. And this planning tool is very, very important because one of the concepts I really like here is that it's just about how they're breaking down how this agent should work, right? The LLM is the reasoning, yes, but it's breaking down different things you should do and how it should do those things. So you have a planning tool that is where you track everything that has been done. Has this task been completed? Yes. Okay, check that. Has this been completed? Yes, check that. And you keep on going until you finish all the different tasks because you're talking about, in some cases, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 tasks that this thing has to perform. So it needs to really, really keep track of that. And that's what the planning tool is. And I think in Langchain agents, as an example, they have this concept of a scratch pad. It's almost like a notebook where the agent is jotting down what it's doing, how it's doing it, these types of things. Anyways, so there's a planning tool. Then you have sub agents. So Claude Code spawns sub agents. This allows them to split up tasks. Okay, so you can create custom sub agents to have more control. This allows for context management and prompt shortcuts. So it says that Claude Code has multiple sub agents that it can delegate different tasks to. So these deep agents have these sub agents that are doing the work. So you have a to-do list, and then you have a way to sort of delegate specific tasks to these sub agents to go do. Okay. Then it talks about a file system. So you need a file system if you're building a deep agent. So Claude Code has access to the file system and it can modify files on there. not just to complete its task, but also to jot down notes. I've been using this quite a lot in my um, coding, just generally speaking, as I'm using, whether it is Claude Code or Cursor or whatever it is I'm using to code. I've been using this approach where I'm using the file system to keep information about what is being built so that the agent, like Cursor or Claude Code, can go use those documents. So those documents could be Markdown, it could be text, whatever it is, but Markdown is the best. And you can just go there and look at different things. So let's say you're building an application that has like a UI, a back end, and maybe you have database. Usually this would be normal for any application you're building. So you could keep information about the data model. You can keep information about what the UI framework is, like all the important things that you can keep them in separate files, and the agent will use those files to go read about what you expect. So it adds context to how the agent works. So having a file system is very handy. I think that's what makes Claude Code really, really special, is the way it manipulates the file system. It uses it to read your files as well, your Python files. So if you're building code out and things like that, it goes to read all these files. It's using the file system. So the file system is a very, very important piece when you're building. All right, so build your deep agent. In order to build this, okay, it says a system prompt inspired by Claude Code to modify to be more general, okay? A no-op to-do list planning tool, same as Claude Code. So this deep agent you're building for yourself. So this is almost like if you want to build your own Claude Code, or if you want to build something that looks like that, I don't think that it makes sense to go build another Claude Code, in all honesty, because Claude Code is just awesome. You can't really, there's so much that goes into it. But I think like there are certain things in your company or certain things you want to do for yourself. For instance, I'm thinking about building something that helps me with the FPL. So I'm a big soccer fan. So there's FPLs around. I'm in fantasy leagues and things of this nature. So maybe I may build something that helps me recommend players. So a deep agent that is able to go do that. Something like that maybe might be interesting to see. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if we're able to build it out. But yeah, so you could use it to build things for work. I at work, for instance, I've built research agents for companies, like some really huge consulting companies that they do very, very deep type of research on competitive analysis, research on macroeconomic trends, research on different types of things. The financial research, there's so much research to be done in a lot of organizations. In fact, I would argue that most tasks in most organizations start with some kind of research. So whether it is a financial services company, it's healthcare, it's tech, whatever it is, you need a lot of research. So a lot of people's tasks start by, let me Google this and Google that. So the same way, everything is kind of in that research mode. So if you're able to build really good research agents for your organization, or you're able to design them and implement them, that could be solving like very, very big problems. So I think that's where these deep agents can be used to solve problems, whether it is a problem at work or your business, or whatever it might be, right? Whatever makes sense to you, right? So whatever makes sense to you. Okay, so you can easily create your own deep agent by passing a custom prompt and custom tools, custom sub agents, and then will be built on top of deep agents. Okay, so we have an example here, it seems. So try out deep agents here. I think very recently they've actually added a UI for this. So we'll explore that as well. We'll explore like what the UI looks like, because the fact that they have a UI means that you can actually host that UI and use it in your company, right? Or use it however you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're in here. So if you want, I can put this actually in the description so that you can go directly to this GitHub. So I'm just going to update the description so that you could have that in there. Give me 1 second so that I'll actually put it in the chat. Actually, that's what I might just do. Give me a second here. Okay. I'm just going to drop it in the chat. So here is the link to go to for deep agents. So you could just go directly here. Okay, so first things first, we need to install deep agents. Okay, so let's go through the usage here, right? So what are we trying to build? Okay, so using an LLM synthesis form, the architecture, however, can yield agents that are shallow and fail to plan. Okay, so this is just talking about the stuff. What is it trying to build? What is the example about? This is some web search stuff. Okay, search a tool to do some research, run a web search, uh, create an agent, then invoke the agent. See examples here. For more complex example, let's look at this complex example and see what's in there. Examples are so important because how do you know what exactly is going on? Okay, so this is a big one. This one has like a very long system prompt. So it's best practice to initialize key ones. Okay, so all of them have some kind of search tool that you need to use, sub research prompts. So this is sub research, sub agent, research sub agent. Okay, sub critique prompt, critique sub agent. Okay, so this has several agents that are doing some stuff. Let's see. So research sub agent. Okay. Hello, Tiago. Hope you're doing great, man. All right. So you can find the report and find out. Okay. So it goes to do some kind of search. It doesn't set what type of search. Okay. So the search could be general news. Okay. This is just the internet tool search. You're a dedicated researcher. Your job is to conduct research on the user's questions, conduct thorough research and reply to the user with a detailed answer to their question. Only your final answer will pass to the user. They will have no knowledge of anything except your final message. Okay, so this is just basically a general agent. Now, personally, I would say that if you're trying to build anything, usually I would say build, if you can build specific types of research. So let's say financial research, and maybe that might be something that we can do in the way we want to approach this. Okay. All right. So this is the example. All right. So let's go ahead and start writing this one out. Let's see. Let's go through the step by step there. So first, we want to go ahead and install deep agents. So let's go over here. Oh my God, made a mistake there to show my .env variables. So now I have to revoke all those keys. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and start a new folder, and let's just call it deep agents string. All right, so this is just what we're doing in here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and open a new terminal right here. I'm going to use Cursor to vibe code here. Claude Code is getting really expensive, by the way, guys. I don't know what you guys think. I use Claude Code, and it's getting really, really, really expensive. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about vibe coding tools? Which ones are you guys using? I use Claude Code. I've tried all of them except Windsurf. I've not tried Windsurf. I don't know why I never tried Windsurf. Cursor is really good, but Claude Code to me is the best. it's the best that I have used so far. And just let me know. I'd like to hear what you guys are using. Let me know in the chat what you're using to vibe code. Like, what's your tool of choice? I'd like to know. Okay, so let's go ahead and initialize. With the pro subscription, you can use Claude Code without buying credits. Codex is really good. Tiago, you're using Codex? Okay, cool. With the pro subscription, you could use Claude Code without buying credits. It has a good usage limit. Okay, I'll try it out. I mean, for me, when I tried it, I couldn't get past a day. I couldn't get past the day without hitting the limits. So it's been a challenge. So I think I need to figure out, maybe I need to optimize how I'm using it. Maybe I'm too lazy. I'm just vibing everything. Maybe, who knows? Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, I tried it. I tried it, man. I tried the $20 one. It finished in I kid you not, 2 hours. It took 2 hours and it was gone. So yeah, so I'm not. That's why I just use the API. But API also is very very expensive. So some weeks I'm spending almost $300. Like it's crazy. It's a crazy thing. And Claude is making a lot of money, man. They're making so much money um from this particular product because it's just the best. But I'm learning how to continue to use Cursor, and sometimes I'll go to Claude Code. But I think for now we can just use Cursor. I think we can do a lot of the things we want to do in Cursor. All right, so I'm gonna do a UV init. Been loving UV init. Personally, I've been loving the UV package manager or all-in-one tool manager of late, and it's really good for a lot of the MCP stuff as well. So we're going to be using UV. So we're going to do UV add, was it pip agent? Was that what we were supposed to do? Oh, sorry, deep agent, I should say. Deep agent. All right, so adding deep agent. So we're installing that, which is good. Yeah, Tiago, I mean, I agree with you, man. Like, best to avoid huge context windows. But it's hard, man. It's hard. You know what? When you start like prototyping like an application or something like that, when you're doing stuff like that, usually what I've seen is that the more when you start building that initial period, you can keep your context window low. Then when your app becomes like really huge, there's so many moving parts and things like that. But I think maybe it's just about how to solve problems. I think that might be the thing. That might be the thing I need to work on is how do you solve problems? If you take very small chunks of problems to solve, then you can give it just the context window it needs to solve that small chunk of problem. But if you're trying to solve like, a lot of things all at once, then you need to give it so much context. And that's what eats up the whole thing. But you're right. I think it's just about like how to manage the context that you're giving it for every run. I think you have to take some, I guess, some responsibility in doing some of that. Yeah. Anyway, that makes sense. Okay, let's keep going with our deep agent. So we have our deep agent here. We've added deep agent. So we have our main.py. So let's go ahead and see what's next. So from what we see here, basically this is how. Let's run this example. Actually, let's just run this example first and see what the example has. As the deal, I break the problem in small problems. Usually I don't give it the entire project as context and act or something. Yeah, you're right. That's the best way. That's the best way to use Claude Code. If you're disciplined enough to keep everything in small chunks and small organized problems, and I think it's really good to the planning. And I think it's very very apt when we're talking about deep agents. It's the same thing. You're talking about deep agents. It's the same thing for Claude Code. When you're building with Claude Code, like Tiago is saying, um, you want to give it just small problems, small specific problems that you can solve. Don't try to go like super crazy with, like go build the entire thing. Like it's just going to require so much context, and that's going to burn through your limits very very quickly. Yeah. Except you're doing something. I suppose there are things that you need to do that might be full refactor or stuff like that, and then you have no option but to give it like the context it requires to solve whatever problem it is. But I agree with Tiago. Completely agree with Tiago. Okay, cool. So deep agent. So we're gonna try this one out. Let's see, what does this one have? So this is this okay, so let's run this one. Okay. We're just going to run this. So this is the search tool they have here, Tavily client. run a web search. I believe I have Tably. Sorry, give me a second here. I need to go look at my secrets. So I'm just gonna um, do that for now. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna look at my secrets. Let's see. Do I have Tably? No, I don't. I'm just gonna put the Tably key into my Tably API key. Well, let's get my Tably key. Tably is really great when it comes to search. A lot of people use Tably, but keep in mind, OpenAI has its own search tool embedded into their own LLMs, so you can use those tools directly if you're using OpenAI. Google also has its own. There are also other search tools out there, but this one seems to be like one that is very popular and really good. All right, so we're going to use that for now. Okay, I'm going to go back into, let's go back into the thing. All right, so save. I got my Tablet tool. Let's go back. All right, so I'm going to remove this and I'm going to add this one. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so I'm just going to do one more thing. So let's go ahead and get UV at python.env, and let's say from.env. Okay, from the env load. Okay, cool. So let's get all of our API keys. So we have OpenAI in there, of course. We have Tably. So we have a bunch of keys. So is this saying that we can just run this? Is that what this thing is saying? So there we have this. Sub agents are optional. Model built-in tools, and it talks about how to do it with a llama, and then goes all the way to human in the loop and things of that nature, which is interesting. It also talks about how to do it with how to use MCPs here as well, which is interesting. Okay, so there are a few things to work on here. So we have invoke the agent. Okay, so we have this one ready to go. So just all we need to do is to run this, I suppose, right? All right, let's go ahead and run it. So that should be UV run Python main.py. Says the Tavily module is not found. Okay, so UV add, I believe it's Python Tavily, right? I think that's the Tavily PyPy. Yeah, it's Tavily dash Python. Okay, cool. Tavily Python. So let's add Tavily Python here. Okay, so we have Tavily Python. Let me increase the size of my screen so it's easier to see exactly what's going on. All right, cool. So let's run our main.py again. So what's actually happening here is what I don't understand. Is that all we needed to do to run this? Okay. What is the problem? Could not resolve authentication, either API key or token sets. For which one? For what? During task name agent is. Oh, does it need that? I think it needs an Anthropic key. Okay, it needs an Anthropic key. So let me quickly get that in there. I think this is an Anthropic, not OpenAI. So let me get an Anthropic key in there. So, and I mean, I'm sure there are ways to use OpenAI, but I'm just in the interest of time, I'm just going to use, yeah, I added a load.env. I did that. So let me just get the key. I'll just get the Anthropic key and load it in there. So create key, string add copy key, Anthropic API underscore key equals to this and save. Okay, I think we can get back to this. So remove and add back in stage. Okay, yeah, I had my load env and all of that, so I think that was okay. I didn't think that that was where the problem was. Just reduce this a little bit. So let's try one more time and see. Okay, it's running for a long time, so hopefully this means that it's working. What was the example even? What was the question? Okay, what is LangGraph? That's a very simple question. I need to give it something way more complex to go solve for. I don't know if this means that it's running and it's taking some time or if it's just not working. Let's see. I've never built code live, like live streaming. There's some kind of fear that comes with, oh, I don't want to mess up online, or I don't want to, show how how I code and things like that. It's just something I want to do on my own. So I think it's really new territory for me. By the way, just wanted to mention that. Okay, this does not look like it's just it was doing something. It was doing something, but then I think okay. So what is land grab? So the error is different now. Recursion limit reached. So there's a config key somewhere. Lang Langchain.docs recursion limit. Let's see what that is. Let's see. So open. So there is a recursion limit. Let me pull that up here. So it says. So I think Tiago, we moved that problem was just it was using Anthropic, right? So it was using Anthropic, and I only had an open AI key in there. So I added an Anthropic API key, and now it's working because I think that's what they're using. They're using Anthropic for this example. So that was what was causing the problem. But now we have a new problem. So it says recursion error, recursion limit of 25 reached without hitting a stop condition. You can increase. So this means when the agent started running, it was running recursively and it has run past 25 times. So this is what happens with deep agents. They're doing so many tasks behind the scenes and it has gone past the 25 limit. So we now need to fix that somehow. How do you fix it? So graph invoke recursion limit to 100. Oh boy. This is like a huge recursion limit though. All right, let's see if we can add it to our invoke because this is our invoke right here. So we need to, so in our invoke, we have this. So we can just basically add this recursion limits. Is it even here? Did they have it here? Recursion? Graph run, output keys, run before. What else? I don't see recursion. Recursion. What it says is in the invoke. So I don't see it. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it anyways. I mean, that's what they are saying is the way it should work. So recursion limit 100. Okay. So save and let's run it again. But this shouldn't take this much time, by the way. Oh, Message dict must contain role and content keys, got recursion limit. So this is not where to do it. Okay, so this is not the right place. Okay, so it's not in the invoke. X, let's see, what does it say? It says in the invoke file. Yeah, so it's an invoke thing. Graph.invoke. Okay, and you have this, and you can just add this. So why is it not working? Agent.invoke. Agent.invoke. We have this, which has let's see. Invoke. Yes. Okay, so I think maybe it needs to be outside. Maybe it's outside. Maybe that's why. Let's see. Let's try this instead. Okay, now I run it. Okay, I think that it was supposed to be outside, not in the role list. Okay, so I think it's running, hopefully. And hopefully it doesn't require 100 recursion, 100 steps to tell me what langgraph means. Let's see. All right, and by the way, I think this is why the UI. Oh, it got some kind of response, but I didn't print the response. Ooh, too bad. Okay, so let's print. Let's print the results, right? So we see exactly what's going on. So it got a response, but we weren't printing it, so we didn't quite see what it returned. So let's try it again. So it'd be nice to see exactly what's happening, especially when you're running it like in the CLI and stuff like that, to see like what's going on. You know, how is it thinking through the problem? And I think that's where the agent comes in, the UI comes in. So we're going to look at the UI, the deep agent UI, to see how it works as well. That could be an easy one for you to implement in your workplace or whatever it is. You could just grab that, or you could use it for your own experiments and things like that to see how to get a deep agent to work in a certain way. So we'll look at how to do that one as well. All right. Let's see. Good. Okay. So this is everything that came back. Quite a lot came back. All right. Let me expand this a little bit. So to-dos, research what LangGraph is and its core functionality, status pending, content, data, information about graph. So this is breaking down, and I know it's a little bit difficult to read all of this, and this is why the UI is going to be good, but it's breaking down exactly all the different tasks that it's doing, like all the subtasks it's doing before it actually starts the research. And I think that's where, deep agents excel. It has that to-do thing. So in the output, you see like the to-do list. Let's see, where is it? So AI, content, text, research this, and then to-dos, right? So this is where it's thinking through what exactly it's going to be doing at each step, and then it's storing all of that information. It uses that all the way to wherever it kind of finds the final answer. It's also using search to do different things. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so I have to back up right now. All right, so this is quite a lot of stuff going on, but these are all the ways it's arriving at what the final answer is. So, I mean, this is an overkill for a question like this. This is an overkill. Like, what is line graph? Very easy question to answer. So, it doesn't require like a lot of work to do that. So let's try to put a UI. Let's try to see what the UI looks like. So you can see the full action. So UI deep agents. I saw this recently. Yeah. So they created a UI for it because it's very difficult to follow when it's just when it's just done like that. So let's take a look at the UI itself. So let's add a new folder for the UI and let's go ahead and do this. So it says create a .env local file, your agent ID from langgraph.json. So it says, okay, langgraph.json. Okay, so the agents are this. Check this video out for a walkthrough of the UI. And then this is where how it works. Okay, so create a .env file, local file for 2 variables. This and then your public agent ID. If I remember correctly, the public agent ID from langgraph.json. From langgraph.json. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and clone this. I think I might have actually cloned this before. Let's see. I think I have a deep agents UI, so I had cloned this earlier on. Let's see. src env.local. So there are a few things we need to put into env.local. Let's see what those things are. Next public deployment URL and next public agent ID. Okay, so let's do that. By the way, actually, if you want to see a very clean way, I remember right now that I actually have Langsmith, and because I have Langsmith, actually, I can actually show a better view of what happened in our run. I just remembered that, I just remembered that I have this because showing it inside the UI, and this is why like having tools like Langsmith are really cool. Is if you and by the way, the way to do this is that you have to have like the Langsmith tracing inside your system. If you I can put a link, just go to Langsmith, you see exactly how to set it up. Basically, they provide you with a bunch of keys, and these keys you can just throw them right into your .env file. And anytime you run anything like this, a Langchain, or you run anything that is LangGraph and stuff like that, it logs it like this for you. And this makes it really easy to come back and see, okay, so what's going on? Okay, so this is actually a very good place for us to see how it actually performed this task, right? So what is LangGraph? This was the first question. I'll research LangGraph for you. Let me try to increase this. Okay, I'll research LangGraph for you and provide a comprehensive overview. And it went through the to-dos. So this was the first thing it did. It called a tool called write to-dos. So this is where it's writing specifically what it's going to be doing. Research what LangGraph is and its core functionality. Gather information about LangGraph, key features and use cases. Find examples and practical applications of LangGraph. Compile findings into a comprehensive report. So this is why this is really one of the key factors of deep agents. One of the key factors of deep agents is this specific tool called write to-dos. So that's the planning step. So it gets the planning step done. Then it starts to execute each one. So update to-do list. So because it's going to start working on one of them. So it goes through each and every one of them and starts working on them. So the very first one is going to be working on is the research. The first part is the research. So this is basically go do like a web search to find what LangGraph means, right? So that's the very first thing it's doing here. Then it has another one, which is also updating. So this is the tool call, and then this is the task. Sorry, this is interesting. This is the task. So this is not a planning. This is a specific task it's doing. So the agent, the sub agent, which is the agent that goes to do the search, is the agent that has the search tool. It's now being given a task to do research LangGraph comprehensively, find what it is, blah 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 blah. This agent now has all those tools. Okay, so there was an error here. So not implemented error. Structured tool does not support sync invocation. So this might be an issue with something, but it does still continue the task. And this is why deep agents are really cool. It's like they have to find a way to solve these problems. All right. So LangGraph is what it is it AI framework. Okay. So it does internet search. LangGraph, what is it AI framework? You see, it's not just doing one search as well. It's not just doing one search. It's doing multiple searches. Multiple searches. You see, and this particular strategy is really what differentiates it. Sorry, I'm having this back cough here. Okay. All right. So internet search tool. Okay. Okay. So it continues to do that, and then it starts to map. And this is another thing. So you notice this when you're using Claude Code. You give it a task to do, and it cancels out what it has done and what it hasn't. This is the tool that is doing that. This is if you think about how powerful Claude Code is, and the fact that you can go replicate this specific solution for your own type of Claude Code solution, like whatever it might be. It might be something that does research about something specific or whatever. Like you could just basically build your own solution, your own Claude Code solution in whatever field makes sense, whatever use case you feel makes sense, because it's a pattern that you can repeat in so many places. I've seen companies say, "Oh, I want to know I want to, okay, I want to make software decision, right? This one is a common one, right? I want to buy software. If I want to buy software, I need to go research all the software out there, right? So before you go buy software, your procurement team, whoever is involved in buying the software needs to go and do an analysis of all the other vendors out there, all the other people who are going to be participating in bidding for this. To do that, you need to go and research everything about the company. You need to go research their pricing. You need to go research what are the features that they have. You need to, research what are people saying about them, right? What are people saying about this particular software? Now, you could build a research agent with using Deep Agent that goes to do all of those things. So you could have one that does like one sub agent for pricing, one sub agent that thinks about feature comparison, one sub agent that goes to look at customer reviews. Now you can design it however you want. So and these would just sort of plan through what needs to happen and go do it. So I've actually built something like that for one of the customers in the organization I work for, and it's something that is very, very important, right? So and there's so many use cases. Like it could be for stocks, it could be for researching funds, or doing research on a very, very large document, right? If you have like a very large document, you can't just drag your way through a 15,000 page document to actually summarize it. You have to break it down into smaller chunks and steps, and that's what Deep Agent allows you to do. You can break all these big tasks into really small chunks. Going back to what Tiago was saying earlier on, right, about the way you solve problem on Claude Code as well, right? You break it down into small chunks. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Like this is really cool. I love this because this shows exactly what's happening behind the scenes. So internet search, and look at all the results, right? So it's getting a lot of context to be able to solve the problems it's trying to solve. Then it finishes this, it completed. So you can see the pattern here. Finishes this, completed, finishes this, completed. Now it's going and doing more stuff. So, but I mean, I think the pattern is going to be all the same, right? It's going to do some search, it's going to find the result. Okay, so then has it completed? Okay, so at this point, it's completed everything, right? Then it takes everything. I suppose it's going to take everything and provide. Okay, so these are the to-dos. So this is a new schema, actually. I've not seen the schema with Langchain in a long time. This is a very, very new schema. This to-do list schema, which is interesting. Okay, let's keep going because there's so much going on. Okay, what's happening here? So internet search should continue. Let's see. This is the very last one. Let's see the very last piece here. So output. LangGraph represents a significant evolution in AI development, providing tools and frameworks to product-ready AI applications that can handle complex real-world scenarios with language scalability. I would say I'm kind of disappointed. Hey, Whistle Guy, thank you for joining. Hope you're doing great. I'll say I'm actually a little disappointed in this result, in all honesty, because it went and picked up all the information. Oh, is this the result? AI, what is line graph? Line graph represents open source. Okay, I like this better, open source AI agent framework created by Langchain, and it has all these. Do these Whistle Guy has a question? Do this deep agents available in LangGraph? So deep agents are basically built with LangGraph, right? So LangGraph is sort of the underlying um, sort of platform it's using. It's using the same sort of architecture for LangGraph, but it's just an implementation of LangGraph, right? Because if you look at the way it's designed, so there is this. These agents are basically LangGraph agents. Even the invoke right at the bottom here. So this is create deep agent. So all these everything about the signatures and stuff like that are all LangGraph. So it's a LangGraph tool. If when you go like to how we designed it at our end, let's go back to the agent that we built earlier on. So SRC this is the UI. This is the one we're working with. Okay, so main, yeah. So this invoke agent.invoke is the same thing, right? It's the same exact LangGraph signature. So yeah, it's basically a LangGraph agent essentially, but it's a specific implementation of it, which is why I've not seen this. When I've looked at the output, I've never seen like the way the to-do tools are showing here. And this is pretty cool. Like all the way these things are all they're kind of new a little bit in the Langchain space. Okay, so this is the thing that it actually returned back. So it says LangGraph is this and that, state management. Fine. Yeah, this is really good. This is good. The final answer was a little disappointing, but I guess it just, and that final part where it was kind of giving us, here's what it is, was a little disappointing. But I think the approach it took was definitely a comprehensive one. So you can apply this to like several things. Let me try my FPL question. I'm kind of let's try the FPL question. Let's see. I don't think it's going to do well with this question because it just only has a search tool. If I gave it a different tool that could go do like deep FPL research, then that would be amazing. But that would take some time. I have an FPL deep agent that I'm building on the side here, but I think it's a little messy at the moment. So I have like so many things like FPL utils, because there's so many things you need to do like when you're thinking about like building an FPL type application. By the way, I mean I don't know if you guys are in any fantasy leagues or anything like that. I follow the soccer one. I'm very, very into it. So there's a library for it. So that library would kind of be the tools that you would use. I think that if you were building like, if I was building a deep agent that does like FPL research, that's football Premier League, fantasy Premier League research, then I have to give it these types of tools. Find players by price criteria, and all these things. There's so many things you have to write. There's so many tools that you have to build out to give the agent any chance of being able to actually suggest like good players for your FPL or whatever fantasy league or whatever it is that you're doing. Like it requires a lot. I don't think I have all the time today to go through it because I've been thinking about it for a long time. I'm trying to do an experiment to see how AI agents would kind of build, kind of fare. I have like 2 FPL accounts. One for my just personal thinking about what I feel when I watch a game or whatever it is, and I make my decisions based on that. And yeah, go ahead, Whistle Guy. Go ahead with your. I have a out of the content question. Yeah, go ahead, Max. Um, and sometimes I might just then I have a second account, sorry, which is just basically whatever the agent says we should do, we do it, which would be interesting. So, anyways, that's a deep agent that I want to build out. Maybe when I have some time, we can build it. Okay, your question is about small language models, if I'm correct. Is that what your question? If that's what your question is, and how big it would be in the future? I think it's going to be big. I think there's going to be a lot of use cases where you need to use like specific models to solve specific tasks, especially when you have things like latency as a consideration, right? When you have latency as a consideration, sometimes like there's small things like extractions, as an example. I work on a lot of like medical summarization use cases. These types of use cases that are very complex pipelines of extracting specific types of information from different types of data using either vision models or even language models as well. And in some cases, these pipelines are becoming like just to analyze 100 pages could take almost 2 hours to complete for the level of extraction you're trying to do. A smaller model might help us do those extractions faster. So I think it's important. I think the balance currently, which is why personally the approach I take is I'm taking the best model first and then figuring out, okay, what other models can handle aspects of my pipeline or my workflow and stuff like that, and then decide to delegate that way. But the truth is that definitely for cost purposes as well as for latency and performance, I think small language models are definitely something that we should keep an eye on. And I think people are already using it actually in a lot of enterprise scenarios for sure. I know that for sure that there are people using very small models for very small tasks. That's so easy, like things like classification and stuff like that. Things that don't require like heavy reasoning or where you need the large models for those type of things. Yeah, but really good question. Small language models are definitely very important in most of the workflows. And also I think we're hearing like there are mobile phones that are going to be having language models running inside the mobile phones, because the mobile phones are not going to have like a lot of compute power. Then yeah, is it possible to extract weights of the open source models and train our SLM for a domain specific? Is it possible? It's definitely possible. I have to say this. I'm fully more on the applied AI side versus say training and pre-training and things of that nature. But from what I know, like I'm in touch with our research team as an example. You can definitely take the weights of a model and go train it or fine tune it depending on what you're trying to do. But I think my advice is usually most times when it comes to like training a model on a specific domain, from my own experience, what I have seen is that people who try to eventually come back and use like a general model, because there are very few things that you're going to be optimizing for that warrant the time, effort, cost that you're going to be putting into like training the model. Because you're not just training the model, you have to maintain the model, you have to keep on updating it and things of that nature. So I think that and maybe I'm biased a little bit here. I think optimizing for retrieval when it comes to domain specific use cases, I feel like optimizing for that so that in real time you can pass the context of the domain that you're working on. I feel like that is like the fastest way to arrive at value at this point in time. And I'm talking maybe because I'm more on the applied side, that is sort of how I think about it, because I want to solve the problems immediately and things like that. But yeah, that's my long-winded way of saying definitely something that is doable. I think the tools that are out there, so many, I think Google has one there. They have a directory, I think, that you could use to, what is it called? Let's see, console.google. Model garden, I think they call it. So under Vertex AI, basically you could grab models and create your models and things like that, for sure. You could do that. You could serve the models here. You could deploy custom weights. You can do basically anything you do. I don't focus so much myself personally on that, but it's possible for sure. All right. Thanks, Whistle Guy. I love that question, by the way. I love it. I always love when we can talk about these different options or different choices to make when it comes to designing or your solution and building it. And I think the beauty of the time we're living is that there's so many options. Actually, there's so many options. It's just now about fitting each option into the specific use case that makes sense and the specific needs of your project and things like that. So really good. Out of curiosity, Whistle Guy, what type of projects are you thinking about? Like, I would love to hear what you're trying to build and sort of think through, like, what that looks like. If you don't mind, it's just out of curiosity. And I love your question. So I just want to know what you're building currently. All right. Okay. So I think for FPL, probably I'll do it in a different day. This was my very first stream, so it was good kind of. All right, and if possible, please publish a video to construct these agents from scratch without any framework. Ooh, thank you, white guy. See, look, whistle guy. Sorry. Actually, I think I was alluding to this earlier on. In at the beginning of the video, I don't know if you were there at the time. I use Langchain. These sessions first and foremost are for me to learn new concepts. So today I was learning about deep agents. Sorry, excuse me. And they form a construct in my head of how to execute this. Oh, that's amazing, whistle guy. So but these looking at Langchain specifically, Langchain, I think Langchain is, and I started following Langchain in 2022. So it was actually one of the places where I learned about the mental model for building solutions in this generative AI space. Because I think Harrison Chase, amazing guy. You need to. This guy is special, right? So if you're not following Langchain, if you're not following Harrison Chase, please do. Amazing guy, and what he was able to do, even these concepts, agents, tools, all these concepts, he came up with those concepts, and then even the labs actually copied those concepts into their own apps. So he had agents way before anyone was even thinking or talking about agents. I think Llama Index is another library that is sort of that. Those were the libraries that taught everyone who's understanding how to build AI agents. They taught us how to think about the problem solving. But what you raise is a very, very important point. It doesn't mean that you have to build and implement all of them using these frameworks. Actually doing them from scratch can be helpful. But when it comes to prototyping, when it comes to putting something, experimenting, when it comes to showing your proof of concept, because in say in the enterprise, like whistle guy, you're a student, so you probably either go on to build your own solution, or you might work for an organization and you're an AI engineer there or whatever it is. I don't know what your plans are, but a lot of times in organizations, the most important thing is getting to your minimum viable product as quickly as possible, because you need to test if this thing works. You need to test if people even care about it. I like to balance how engineers think with how the business works, because I think that's important, right? It's very, very important. So what Langchain does is allows you to go fast, test an idea. Is it working? Is it not working? If it's working, great. Then we can come back and think about how to architect it from the ground up. So if we're architecting this deep agent based on what we've learned from LangGraph, if we're doing it live, I'm just going to open my Excalibur drawer here. Then we have to think about so many different things. So we can come out and say, okay, we have a deep agent. Oh, thanks, Tiago. Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining, and thank you for recommending Excalibur. As you can see, I love using it. So thanks a lot. Do have a great one, man. Okay, cool. So if we're thinking about deep agents, like my FPL agent, let's say we wanted to design my FPL agent. However it is, whether we're using LangGraph or we're doing it ourselves, So FPL agent, what would that look like? FPL deep agent. How would I build the FPL deep agent? So I have the agent here. Now, following the style they've told us, it says you need to have some sub agents, right? So sub agents. So in each of these sub agents, so we can have a sub agent that is um, price player price research, player price research, right? So that would be this particular agent does. And we can have another agent that does news player injury research, right? Not sure why this uh see this. Okay. Okay. That will move it over here. All right. And you could have, let's just copy and paste. You could have a player form research. So this is checking the player's form at any point in time. And you can have so many other types. I mean, as you're thinking about this, you have to think about, okay, how am I building this? So you can have so many different agents, sub agents, I should say, that are going to do different things. So what does the player price research agent need? The player price research agent is going to need tools that allows it to. So I'm just going to put tools over here. I'm going to use circles to represent tools. So let's say it needs a FPL price function, price check function tool, right? And that's what those are the tools this needs. It needs this type of tools, right? So and then you can have injury research could require like a search tool to go look up. Let's see. So this could be player injury search tool, right? So again, this would be a tool that does, just specifically does injury research. So it goes online to search whether a player is injured or not. And you could have also one that does form search. So this could be like something that goes look up X for player form commentary, commentary, or it could be whatever. It could be different types of tools. Maybe one does like X search because people on Twitter have or X have a ton of opinions, right, about player, and you can get sentiments from there. You could also get information by just searching about the player's form or looking up or using like something like Playwright as a tool to go look up FPL ref or any of these sources to see what the player's last game's form or last 5 games form is. So you have so many different tools that you have to create. So you're building this from scratch. And so Whistle Guy, I think one of the things I would say is that the real design is in how you're implementing the agent. So if I were to be doing this and I can do this, and maybe when I finish this, I'm just going to use either ChatGPT or whatever it is to tell it to actually generate the full sort of prompt for this and things of that nature. But I think in terms of building from scratch, this is what's important. It's how you kind of organize the sub agents. It's also how you organize the tools that the sub agents are using to solve specific problems. So that would be like the sense I'm getting about how to actually implement something like this, which will take some time. I'm not sure that we can arrive at that within this particular live stream, but that would be the approach that I would be using. Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you're a student. I think it's beautiful and wonderful to see that you are, already really, really, focused on the work at hand and trying to build. So I hope you're building cool stuff. If you're building cool stuff, please feel free to share your GitHub as well so we can go check it out. Okay, so the project I'm working on addresses the fundamental challenge of transferring knowledge from large language models to small models while preserving reasoning and preventing performance degradation. Amazing. That is like a huge, huge task. I think the all the recent models, and again, like I said, I'm not really on the ML side of things, I'm more on the applied side, but I keep an eye on what's going on the ML side just to have like a perspective as well. But what I would say is that we're seeing more and more scenarios where small models are performing in a lot of tasks. I wouldn't say in every task, but in a lot of tasks, just as well as the very large models. And Whistle Guy, you know what I would love? What I would love is for someone, just from my own perspective, as someone who's more on the applied AI side, what I would love is someone to come up with kind of a rubric, like a rubric of the tasks that these small language models can replace on the large language model side, being very specific about what type of tasks. Because I think if you kind of think about like implementation in a lot of enterprises or implementation just broadly speaking across the board, a lot of people have already implemented with large language models. They've implemented solutions with these large language models. So now they have to, if for people to move over to a small language model, they would have to find, there has to be some kind of migration strategy for some of the tasks. Now, not for every task, but for some of the tasks. So I think the guide that maps what you're currently doing with your large language model to what it can do in a small language model is something that will be so helpful for a lot of folks to be able to adopt this idea. So I think that's where, I think those are the things that are really kind of maybe might be a little bit challenging when it comes to like that migration or sort of offloading or offsetting, even in the design phase when you're designing the project, you're designing a pipeline, whatever it is you're designing. At that point, you can very, very easily identify, okay, it does make sense to upload this particular task to a small language model, right? Oh, this is a classification task that yeah. Oh, amazing, amazing. I love it. I love it. The fact that you've seen it also as a gap is really important. So I think it will just really change because latency, honestly, if for a lot of things, actually, I'm actually in the middle of this problem right now with this summarization use case I'm talking about, this medical summarization. So basically, you have a bunch of medical documents that are scanned documents, handwritten stuff, printed stuff. You have all these crazy things, right? And you need to go in there and extract specific pieces of medical information from these documents. For me, right now, I'm using just the large language model to do it because it's a thing that can do it. But I know I would benefit so much. I could benefit so much from a smaller model doing some of the extraction tasks because those are very simple tasks. Being able to identify a specific word on a particular page or whatever it is, or a specific phrase, should be something like a small language model should do comfortably. So I thought I thought, can these agents be helpful for this or not? Yeah, I think they can be. Oh, I see what you're saying in terms of like the model training, I suppose. Is that what you mean, whistle guy? Like in terms of like being able to create that architecture for the models. Is that what you're saying, that you wanted to use a deep agent to try? Can you clarify? Yeah. Okay. Um, I would say that yes, of course, but you're gonna have to do a lot of work, right? With the sub agents and the functions, right? You have to like you're gonna do a lot of work there anyways. So um I would say maybe there are things that you can delegate to these agents to do for you in terms of data preparation. There might be some tasks that you could do there. So it could be in terms of generating synthetic data, as an example. So if you're trying to turbocharge your data preparation, maybe you're using the agent to go through the process of generating synthetic data. And maybe you use that. You take that one task that is a very complex task. Sorry, where you're saying, I have a particular domain. I don't know what domain. What domain? I mean, let's take finance as an example. Like since it's a pretty common one. So I'm gonna generate synthetic data on fund data based on something that goes and pulls all the information from a specific data set or whatever it is, that is out there. Like there's so many data sets that you can work with and then create synthetic data. I mean, there's so many ways you can do it, but I'll say like maybe choosing something, I don't know if end to end it can. I'm sure it can, but I think it's gonna be like quite some work to get to the accuracy that you're looking for at the end of the day. So I think maybe for specific tasks, I would say. But yeah, how far have you gone so far? How far have you gone in terms of like trying to solve the problem? Have you like where would you say you're at currently? All right, all right. So let me know in the chat. By the way, thank you to everyone who joined the chat. Really, really, really excited. This is the very first one I'm doing, so I am really grateful to have folks in here joining in to help to kind of chill and hang out and things like that. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, awesome. So what you're saying right now in the development of the platform, in the problem statement phase. Okay, amazing, amazing. Um, do you have problems in mind that you're trying to solve as well? Like if there are problems that you have in mind that you're trying to solve, like I mean, it'd be nice to hear because when any specific like use cases that you've identified so far that are kind of top of mind for you. All right, so that's right now in the problem statement phase. I'm actually learning how to use this thing. As I go along. All right. All right. So let's look at this Deep Agents UI while Whistle Guy is finding that. I don't know why it says that let's go to UI, the UI aspect of it. So we're done with this. So let's go here. Not sure why this is not working. Let's go to the README. The README says deep agents and generic AI agents capable of handling tasks. Okay, so the UI intended to use alongside this. If the deep agent is new to you, check this. Okay, so we've seen all of that. Domain of health sector. Yeah, health is amazing. One interesting thing about health, and by the way, for me personally, I have a very specific um, interest in health because my spouse works in the health sector as well. So we build a lot of healthcare based solutions as well, just on the side. Just we love doing that. The healthcare space is one that is very I would say ripe for a lot of disruption because there's a lot of manual stuff happening there, especially when it comes to data. There's years and years of data that has been collected manually that needs to be digitized. So it's easier to retrieve information about people and then use that information to solve other types of problems. So there's so much to be done in that space. So really good space. There's so much work to be done there, to be honest with you. But if you started with a model that does clinical summarization very, very well, my friend, you're in a really good place because that is like a big problem as well that needs to be solved. So I think those are kind of things that you can look at. All right. So let's go to this UI piece. Yeah, that's a place. That's a place where exactly this SLM can fill the space instead of a LLM or a human. Yeah, I mean, there are thousands and thousands of records, man. They're like so much, so many records, so many written stuff, scanned stuff, faxed stuff. Like there's so much stuff going on there. Like so, there's a lot of work to be done there. A lot of work to be done there. I hear of like people having to do humans having to like look through every single document and itemize and figure out what's going on there. You're talking about 30,000 pages or 100,000 pages, and people have to go through and sift through each and every one of them to kind of extract some kind of meaningful information. And so there's a huge opportunity definitely to explore ways to solve these types of problems. So yeah, I'll be following you. I mean, if you want to DM me or write me or send me like your LinkedIn so we can connect there and stuff like that, that would be amazing. Just to follow the work that you're doing in that space. I think it's pretty cool work. Pretty cool work. Really really important. So let me know. Let me know. All right, awesome. Okay, so let's see if we can run this up. I mean, this is I don't know why this is being weird. Let's see. Let me go into this UI. I just cloned that repo, by the way. So open integrated terminal. I'm just gonna try doing npm install and and then we're gonna do an npm run dev. This is what I don't get. There's a part that says your API key, Langchain API key is fine. I can get that. Public deployment URL, so your agent server URL and your agent ID from langgraph.json. Where is langgraph.json though? I don't see langgraph.json. Where is langgraph.json? And graph.json. There's no such thing. There's nothing like that. So where is this langgraph.json? I think this is where this goes south. Where is this thing? Is it inside the app? Is there a langgraph.json file somewhere? Providers, library. I don't see it. I don't see the langgraph.json anywhere. So how do you get this thing working? So it says, and check out this video of a walkthrough of the UI. Let's go back to the GitHub for this UI, deep agent UI. Okay, if the term deep agent is new to you, okay. Walkthrough of the UI. What's going on in the walkthrough of the UI? Okay, so this is just a walkthrough of the UI. This just kind of explains what we were just talking about. Okay. I think I need to figure out what's going on here. npm install. Okay, what is he adding into his? So he's just giving his agent a name. Just any name? Is that what this guy is saying? So let's do that. It's just any name. env.local. But it says your agent ID from langgraph.json. So where is langgraph.json? Like, did he show anything about langgraph.json first? Let's see. No, he just went ahead and just wrote his agent name, right? So he gave his agent a name, and that's it. And that's it. So that should work. Let's go back and see what's going on here. So I'm just gonna give it a name of research agent, something like that, maybe. And then let's go ahead and npm run dev. So give our agent a name. There's one for adding Langsmith API key. I'm just going to add that as well. Sorry, I'm just going to have to, let's see. I'm just going to have to get this up while I do this. Let's see. env.local. Sorry, guys, I'm just. All right, thanks a lot, Whistle Guy. Really great connecting as well. Really great connecting for sure. All right, Langsmith API key. By the way, if you don't have a Langsmith API key, just go sign up for Langsmith. Really good way to track some of the stuff you're doing. Thanks, Whistle Guy. Have a great one, man. All woman. Okay, cool, awesome. So this, okay. Let's go try it now. Let's see. Let's try and see if it works. I'm gonna open it up again. Just give me a second. Lib. Chat interface. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this back on stage. So remove this and bring this back on stage. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do npm run dev. Okay, seems to be running. Okay, amazing. We're good. All right, so that's our deep agent UI. So let's open it up. So deep agent UI, let's see. Beautiful. So this is running here. I'm just gonna remove this. This is running on our local host 3000. Let's see. Let's say hello. Let's see how it works. But I don't expect it to work without like it doesn't talk about like an API key for OpenAI or something like that. You know what? I'll say the documentation for this could be better. I honestly think it can be better. Because I know for sure it needs like an LLM to work. And at the moment, it doesn't seem like it's working. Or does it have to work with the second one? I wonder if that's what they're saying. Let's see. So it's running. Okay. He was able to get it to run, which is fine. Okay, but this doesn't. I mean, did he do any other thing when he? Was there any other thing here that we're missing? See, so he did that. And that's it. Is he saying something behind the scenes here? Let's see. This deep agent. We're just gonna refresh it for a second. Loading thread history. Files, tasks. Okay. I wonder if I'm just gonna put my secrets on for now so I can just copy over the API key for OpenAI and for Anthropic. Maybe they expect it to be there by default. So let me just add it. So this is what I'm talking about. It needs to be easier to know what's happening. OpenAI API key. Just gonna put next. And we're gonna do it for Anthropic as well. So for Anthropic, we're going to. By the way, I'm sorry that I'm just working on a different screen just to protect my secrets. Next, underscore public underscore this. Okay, so let me save this. All right, so let's go run. Let's go talk to our agent again. All right, let's just remove this. Okay, so let's do hello. Does it work now? It doesn't seem to be working. It's not streaming anything back. These guys have not really given a very good set of instructions here for what we're doing. Feels very, let's see. Is there something we're missing? We're missing something. Next, deployment URL. Maybe I'm missing something. Let's go back to the main deep agent. Maybe it's something about how the agent is being used. Maybe there's something there that we need to think about. Let's see. Okay. Just trying to see if there's a specific way to run this agent that makes it possible for other folks to use it via the UI, or if the UI, I don't know. I mean, the UI seems to be, there's very little information about how you should use the UI, allow users to customize. This is the problem. Like this documentation is not adequate. It's not. It's just not. Because when I go here, I don't see anything else. It says just add this from your langgraph.json file. So, and I'm wondering, is there a langgraph.json file somewhere? I don't see it. Doesn't seem to be here in any particular way. So this is a README file. Once you have environment variables set, all dependencies, then to test out your agent. It says created on local env file. We have that. Has a Langsmith API, public agent ID, your agent ID from langgraph.json. There's no such thing. There is no such thing. Even with this one, there is no Langchain langgraph. So where is this supposed to be? Your agent ID from langgraph.json. Where exactly would this be? Because they don't show us that. They don't show us. Is it here? It's not here. There is no such thing as langgraph. Nothing. I don't see it. So there's something wrong. Lang dot JSON. Nothing of that nature. So this is incorrect. Let's try and ask questions here, because this is not support for agent IDs. Add ability to UI, support for multiple agent IDs. Okay, right now you need to set your agent in the env file. I'm changing. Support a single agent ID, or is there a way to have one ID? This is a bit strange because I don't even know. So let's say issues, add ability in UI to edit files and file system, UI for human can't resolve, have multiple line graph JSON files for complex flows. Line graph JSON files. Let's go find out what this means. I've never heard about line graph JSON files. Line graph JSON file. Let's see what this is. Interesting. Oh, so this is probably, where is the reference for this stuff? I don't see any references to talk about line graph.json. Let's see, application structure. Is there anything about line graph.json? Okay, line graph configuration file. A line graph application consists of one or more graphs. Da, 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 da. Okay. So a configuration file that specifies. So how do you line graph CLI? Ooh, so I think I need the line graph CLI to generate this. Let's see. Huh. Line graph CLI. Let's understand how the line graph CLI works. So pip install line graph CLI. So I'm just going to add this because this might be how we solve our problem here. UV add line graph CLI. Great. And what else? Line graph CLI configuration file. Da, da, da. So it seems like it's a line graph command, CLI command that generates this JSON stuff. It seems like that's how it works. So the CLI, what exactly line graph CLI? So we run the command line graph help to see what's going on. Let's go see what's going on here. I'm just going to do a clear of this. Clear line graph help. Ooh. Pip install line graph CLI. Okay. Okay, so what do we have here? We have build line graph API, server Docker image, run line graph API, server documenting this. Okay, so we need a, let's see, line graph new or build. I mean, this is not a line graph app, so I don't expect it to build. Okay, so it should be line graph build. Oh, I see, line graph build. This has turned into a completely different thing. All right, so line graph build. Line graph. Oh, do I need to put, okay, dash build. Okay. New. How exactly is it supposed to work then? Let's go to help back. You can see. So line graph options, help, line graph build, line graph tab. Okay. So why does this not work? Let's try new. Please, okay. Look, the application to create part. Okay, so we're creating it in here. This specify that it already exists, a button to prevent overriding files. Okay, cool. So build. So what's the problem with building? Maybe we need to go start all the way from scratch here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a cd dash slash tutorials, and then let's do a lang graph new. Oh, wrong spelling here. Graph. All right. Why is it doing that? Okay, so let's call it deep agent test. I'm just gonna call it that. All right, so a new line graph project, React agent, memory agent. So this has a bunch of agents. Enter the template you want. New line graph, simple minimal chatbot with memory, React agent, retrieval agent, data enrichment agent. All right, let's go with a React agent. So build out a React agent, and we're going to go with Python, right? Yes. All right, so we now have a new agent in here. So let's see, deep agent test. Okay, cool. So this builds the agent, including our line graph agent, the JSON agent. I see. So this seems to be where we're supposed to find our agent name. That's what I can glean from this. Dot slash src react agent graph.py graph. This is the line graph.json stuff. Dependencies none. And then there should be like a .env example where you have your tablet key, your this, your Anthropic API, and Fireworks API keys. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and try to work on this. Let's get the .env file ready to go. Copy. Let's see what the README says. README says we have a line graph file, and to get started, we need to create a .env file. Okay, cool. So .env new file .env, and I'm just gonna copy over all of my .env stuff in there easily. BS. Okay, so graph. Okay, so we have that, and then what else? What else do we do to do this? Okay, so quick starts. We want to. Okay, so this define required keys. Okay, setup model, default models are shown below. Blah blah blah. Use Anthropic. Use OpenAI. Okay, add tools, development. Okay, let's see. And then we can just run it. All right, so let's go ahead and run it. I think we're ready to go now. The stage, remove and add to stage. Okay, so lang, let me go into, okay, so let's say lang graph run dot. Lang graph help. Okay, so it's lang graph run dev, or lang graph dev, actually, just lang graph dev. So lang graph dev, lang graph dev. Required package LangGraph API is not there, so click install you LangGraph. Please install it. required package. What is this? Why is it not working? All right, let's see now. Okay, amazing. So this is our, I see. So this makes sense. So you need to use LangGraph. This is just the beauty of doing these types of things. Life is that you can see where the errors are and things like that. So it says, if you're using requirements of this, Python install, if you're using Python, this. Okay, so there are things that we still need to do before this works. So I'm just gonna do that first. But what I was just trying to say is that why is this not working? There's a module pip. It says that module could not import runtime. It says that if you're using requirements.txt, Python m pip install. If you're using this, Python m. That is weird. Let's see if our friends can help us here. What is going on here? Okay. Okay, so cursor is fixing it. I'm not in the mood to read all this errors. Okay, so it seems to be running right now. So it's running. So actually what I need to do is use this to run it. So uv run dev, okay. uv run langgraph dev. Okay, but I need to be in, I see the mistakes. I need to be in here to do it. Okay, amazing. So now let's go in here so you can see where we're actually running our agent right here. So this is our agent. It's a very simple agent. Let's now go to this deep agent to see if it's now working. Hi. Still not working. Do I need to restart? Maybe I need to restart. Let me just restart it, because I think what's happening is that it uses the UI. It uses the back end, sorry, of whatever agent you're running. So that's basically what's happening. So when you're using that, so it's gonna refresh this. Okay, just do a hello. Oh, still not working. Is it even trying to hit that in the first place? Because I think what's happening is that it serves the API. Oh, we are in a rabbit hole, aren't we? Okay, let's see, follow link to docs. Yeah, so you have his docs and things like that. Let's see. Let's see if this is working. So when you open this in docs, you have this. These are the rabbit holes that we we fall into, right? These are the rabbit holes that we find ourselves getting into. Get assistant test requests. Let's see, is there any assistant over here? Okay, no ID, no. This is a specific count assistance. Okay, there's just one assistant, is what it's telling us. And what is that assistant though? This is interesting. I've not seen all these new implementations from Langchain, by the way. This is my first time seeing some of these things. Okay. So this is their assistants. So this is basically their agents and stuff. So is there a list assistant, get assistant, graph, patch assistant, thread, store, model assistant, things like that. Get assistant, search assistant. All right, let's search assistant and see. Okay, so we have one assistant ID here called this. Let's see what this assistant is about. This is interesting. I've not seen this LangGraph API. So this is cool that we're seeing this and we're able to kind of figure out what's going on here. So I want to test this. In terms of assistant ID, this is the assistant ID we're going to be testing with. We're going to go ahead and send. Okay, so the name is React Agent. So I suppose this is what we're supposed to put into our on the UI side for Deep Agent. On the UI side, we're supposed to put in the name of the agent as this. Ooh. What was the name of the agent? Oh my gosh. All right, send. React Agent. Copy React Agent. So React Agent. I can put this in quotes, make it easier to understand. S. And then, okay, so we have our React Agent. So now is our Deep Agent going to work now? Hello? Still having an error. Same error. Must be either a valid assistant UUI. Oh, it's the UUID as well. Okay. Okay. So it's the UUID we should actually be taking. Amazing. All right. We're getting there. We're getting to a solution here. So which is good. All right. This is the messy world of finding the solution to a particular problem. Which is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. All right. So let's continue. Okay. So here I need to, sorry, I was just trying to sort something out on my end. Okay, cool. So basically it's saying that we need to go grab the ID, right? And the ID is basically, where's our ID? Is this ID. So this is the ID of our Deep Agent. So I'm going to grab this ID and I want to set that as our public agent ID. It's the ID, not the name, right? Amazing. This is good. You know what? I think that what I'm learning is just really how LangGraph API works and LangGraph Agent works. I didn't know about this because now I can see how it works. So this Deep Agent now, hopefully, did we save that? We did. Do we need to restart the UI thing for it to be connected? I think so. So Control C, let's npm run dev again. And now let's go ahead and type a hello. Wow. There we go. There we go. So we have our agents here. So basically, what was going on all this while is like you have the UI is powered by a LangGraph agent. Now, if you don't know what a LangGraph agent is and how it works, then that's where you're going to suffer a little bit. And that was what was happening to me. Okay, cool. Let's try a few things. Let's try a few things here. So in this deep agent test, we should just open up right now. Let's go take a look at the agents that we have here. So we have this graph. So this is a graph that we have, and this is a graph that was running right here. We have prompts, states, tools, utils. It's very important to kind of figure out how these work. Okay, so these graphs kind of bring everything together. And this is for the React agent. So what if I wanted to create a new agent? How do I add a new agent to this? Because I want to add my deep agent as another agent. What do I need to do that? Let's go find out in LangGraph. This is it. This is the thing. Like, we need to go figure it out. Okay, so let's see all the different calls that we can make when it comes to CLI. So CLI configuration file follows the schema. Okay, so this is a LangGraph configuration file. Follows a schema. It's a Docker file essentially. So we're running. This is interesting. I've not come across this. So I need to learn about it even more. I think I'm going to take some time to learn more about LangGraph, and maybe in my next stream we can do that. Actually, we can go deeper into how these LangGraph APIs work, because it's been a while since I worked on LangGraph, so I wasn't really sure about how that aspect works. I've been just using simple tools. I've not really used the framework itself in a while. Okay, so let's go back to our tracing and see. So when we said hi, yeah, this was just the React agent. So what we need is a way to store our other agents. How do you create a new agent? See, deep agent. Is deep agent able to do it? Can I create a new agent from here? No. It'd be nice if they added it to UI to make it possible for you to do that. Let me see. Because I think what needs to happen is that React agent add info dependency link sources requires top level text sources. This. Yeah, I need to go learn about this. Definitely need to go learn about how to work with these agents. Because essentially, the way I would think about it is where we have this SRC right now, which is like React agent, we can add one more agent to it. So that would be my thinking about how to work with it, but I have no idea specifically. React agent memory. Okay, because if we go back to actually the documentation, right? Go back to that documentation piece. This one, there is create assistant. So let's test this out and see actually what happens when we create assistant. So here, assistant ID, we're going to leave as empty. Graph ID, we're going to leave as agent. Is that it? The name, let's call it deep agent. So this is just us trying to look at how to use. So say a deep research agent. All right, so send. All right, so it did create a new agent, which is a deep agent. That's what it is. So let's go back to our file and see now. Did it create it? Not really. I don't see it. Did it add it somewhere else? I don't see it. Special agent, appeal agent, deep agent stream, deep agent, SRC React agent, graph. I don't get it. I don't see it. What happens when you create an agent from the API? Well, nothing happened. Nothing happened. We created the agent, but nothing really happened. It just says agent is created, but then nothing happened. Let me see if what if I search the assistance tests send? It's returning 2 now, which means that we have a second agent or a second assistant created, which is fine. Let's see. I have no idea how it is represented over here. Like how is, let's see, do we have even a JSON? So yeah, the line graph is also just not, I don't see anything. It's not very clear to me how it works. So maybe I need some time to go figure out how to add agents into this. Maybe not something to do here, but maybe in a later stream I can come back and do it. But I think what we're able to do is to kind of figure out how deep agents work and kind of go through it and understand sort of the principles of how it works. And we're able to kind of figure out, get into this rabbit hole related to deep agent UI. I think we have a UI that works, but we now need to figure out how to add. Let's see, search for the latest player news for the EPL transfer deadline. What is it going to do here? Okay, so it's going to use a search tool. This is just doing normal search. This is not necessarily like a deep research, but it's doing it. It's fine. So this is actually a very cool way for you to build, like to kind of connect. I think if anything, what we've been able to do is connect the back end and front end, which is pretty cool, which is amazing. I think I'm going to figure out how to add like the deep agents into a project like this. Because that's what I'm missing right here is like, how do you add to the line graph API? Like, what is the approach for doing this? Because clearly, I just did that right now. That nothing really happened. So there has to be somehow or some way it's doing that. So I need to figure that out. But I think for now, I'm gonna end the stream here. It's been amazing for the folks who joined in. I really love this. This is my first time doing this, so this has been fun. Learning so much, learning like kind of walking through the kinks of it and all this stuff over time and things like that. But really enjoyed doing this stream, learning about deep agents and how they work, setting up with the UI. And other things. Now, if there are things that you want to see as you're watching the video, if you have anything that you're interested in or things like that as you sort of walk through it, please let me know, and I'll try to make it happen in the next stream. But really excited about this format. I love it. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty cool. And all right, until next time, have a great one. Cheers.